Hello, good evening, everybody. I hope you had a wonderful Christmas and a holiday. We certainly had here. All of our animals have had their Christmas. They all had their special treat. And I know that you gave your animals a special treat. My horses naturally got apples and carrots. They get carrots every day, but the apples were a nice treat for them. They enjoyed that. I hope Santa Claus was good for you. Didn't bring you just a lump of coal. It was a beautiful, quiet Christmas for us, and hopefully we will have a fantastic New Year. The weather on the East Coast has really been very, very nice. We had today in the 50s. I was out riding my horse, and he was so jubilant. He dumped me, so I have a little bit of a sore butt today. He just bucked me right off. And I didn't like that fact very much. But it wasn't really his fault. He was just jubilant and he just wanted to, it was such nice weather and he was just, animals do get to, they get to enjoy the air and the nice weather. We did have 2 days of awful, awful rain, and so they were mostly in the stable. So I guess he was just full of himself. But it was no problem. I didn't get hurt, and that was a good thing. And tomorrow I'm going to be out again, and I'm going to see that maybe we'll do a little schooling, so that he will understand that that he has to take care of me. We have to teach our animals never do want to hurt us. I mean, they always just want to be nice with us and they want to please us. At least that's what I've found. Um, we had some nice walks with our dogs, and I hope you did too, wherever you lived. Um, we, it was just we had friends over, and I'm sure that you did too. And we just had a lovely, lovely 2 days. And today, like I said, was another great day. It's fabulous, right? That we have that we can enjoy wonderful days. And I had a very this morning I was listening to the news, and I do listen to American news, and since most of you know I'm German, I do listen to the German news too. It gives me two types of perspective. And Archie, the tsunami and Archie was in the news because it was a 50th anniversary, and people were remembering that. And it was really, really interesting. The American news showed all the devastation of Aceh and in Thailand and of how bad it was. It really made you feel like, oh my God, how terrible. And so, when you have that early in the morning, that doesn't really set you in a good mood, or at least not in a positive mood. But then the German news, you know what they reported? They reported all the good things that there have been happening since then. And that made me feel really nice, and it took me to like they built schools, they built a better infrastructure now than they had before. They have warning systems now that will alert people much earlier if there should be a disaster like that or a similar one, or an earthquake or whatever again. So a lot of positive things they reported. And I thought that was a real, real nice way of remembering. And then I thought, how often do we do that? We remember all of these bad things. And yes, we should. We should remember bad happenings like 9/11 and big storms like Sandy and um, like New Orleans, the devastation of New Orleans and so on. We should remember that because people are, but we should remember it in a positive way. And the positive way is, yeah, let's remember it, but make it a positive. What have we done in the meantime? And most of the time, we should really remember the good things that have been happening, all of the positive things. So I sent out an email to most of my friends this morning saying, we are so ready to remember bad things and we are so ready to cry again all over and be sad all over. Why don't we remember? Yes, we should remember. However, we should remember it in a more positive. What was the result? What was the positive result of that? And also remember all of the good things that happen to us every day. You know, we forget, we don't commemorate uh, the positive things so much. You know, we don't commemorate when there is somebody. You have hear very seldom, though some of the networks now you hear more often, some where they report, um, you know, a kind Samaritan who did something good, or like they have this program right now that they give shoes to the Syrian children. There's a big program, and those kind of things. We should remember those. We should celebrate those things. And we should celebrate and telling each other we can make a positive impact because positivity is what gets us through the day, not negativity, not things that make us sad, not things that are. And you know, our animals pick up on that too. When we are you know, not feeling well, or when we are down in the dumps, so to speak, and we are not at our best and we're not happy, our animals pick up our vibes. They know, they know, at least my animals, all the way to the chickens, they know when I am not in a good mood or when I am not happy. And only positivity can bring you happiness, not negativity. Always, always think the glass is half full and not the glass is half empty. And I really do feel that is also a very, very important part of our health. People that are positive, look around you, friends that are always positive, are they often sick? Very likely not. I hardly am ever sick because most of the time I think positive. You know, I remember the good and I try to forget the bad. I do not, I try not to ever dwell on bad things. A very good friend of mine this year died. It was very, very sad. However, you know, we are trying to remember her as she was. She was a generous, kind woman who left a real impact on the world. And that is what we remember. We don't really remember that she's not here because she really is in reality. And so it happens with our animals too, animals that leave us. But the positivity increases our immune system and helps us get through the day. And that makes it really, really nice because now we can lower our blood pressure. We do not produce as much cholesterol. cholesterol we really produce when we are thinking negativity. That brings stress to us. Our stress level is higher. And so are our animals feel that too. Animals that are a little bit ailing always. There are some animals that are just like us. Some animals, they're just not, their constitution is just not very good. So they're always a little ailing. Well, if we put more stress on them by having a negative household, by being more on the negative side. Oh my God, you're sick again. Let's go to the doctor. Oh my God, you have another. Oh, you're licked here. Oh, and I have to change your food again because you have food allergies. Which brings me to the next subject in a minute. That brings stress to our animals. But a calm, cheerful way will help all of our. I don't know if you all have seen my little poodle. It's a little black poodle, TC. When he came to me, I rescued him from the shelter, and oh my God, he was a mess. He was poo-pooing everywhere, and he was lying in it. His fur was almost gone. His teeth were so bad. The vet, in fact, they told me they all have to be pulled. I said, yeah, well, we'll see. And, he was just a real mess. And he's just like a toy poodle, a small one. And I just took him home and we started a program of not only positivity, but good food and trying different foods because he has a lot of food allergies. He can't eat, for instance, chicken. It took me a while to realize that. I was feeding them, thinking, well, I feed him cooked chicken and with some vegetables, and that's going to be very good for him. Well, not so much. He kept itching. His fur just would not get any better. His teeth certainly didn't. So then I started to give him remedies to keep his teeth, to make the infection go, bring the infection down in his teeth. We didn't pull any of his teeth because I didn't want him to have to just give him pep, stuff that he didn't have to chew or that he couldn't bite. It's very devastating for a dog to lose all of the teeth. It's not good at all. So now, yeah, his teeth are still not like the other ones, nice and healthy and white, but none of them are loose, none of them are infected. His gingivitis is gone, and his fur is lush and thick and glossy. He gets a little bit seaweed in his food. He gets the raw food, and he is in great shape. Now, once in a while, he gets a little ear problem or so on. I take care of it, put a little garlic oil in there, see that he just recently had mites. So what I did is I took a little colloidal silver, put a Q-tip in it, and cleaned out his ears with colloidal silver. And colloidal silver really works well for ear mites. So there is the best example. Now, some of my clients, some of the animals I have from my clients, one of them is a little tiny teacup. I mean, that animal is so small. I don't know how it ever got to, you know. But anyway, I mean, that little Yorkie is about this big. Okay. Well, she can't leave it on the bed because it falls off the bed. It can break a leg. It can't be. So she keeps it, she carries it around literally continuously. Um, I don't think that this little dog will live very long, to tell you the truth, because I really think that animals need the joy of running and being active, just like we do too. We need to run and move our bones and move our muscles. And if you're carried around all the time, that's not going to happen. So I advised the lady that the little dog had urine tract infections one after another. We finally got rid of that, and now what she does is she takes it at least for a 15 to 20-minute walk every day. And the animal and the little dog is much happier, really a lot happier now that it can move. And that's a very good example. Sometimes we do things because we think we are doing the right thing for our animal, but it may not be so. Sometimes we have to think of what are they made, of why are they like this? Um, One of our cats is an indoor cat, and she goes always up in the rafters in the house, and it's amazing to watch her walk down from there. She goes over, and then she goes over where the garage door is, where all the armature for the electric garage door is, and she walks along these very thin rails, and without a fail, she never gets hurt. And she hopefully keeps the mice population up there a little lower. And she loves it up there. So I think that is a great thing. It's a great exercise place for a cat. So let's talk about some allergies.
Gisela,
Yes.
you were talking earlier about that the gingivitis was gone.
Uh-huh.
Uh, Jeff in the um, chat is
Yeah.
asking, how did you do that?
Well, there is a very, very good there are several remedies homeopathic. As you all know, I'm a homeopathist. I treat with homeopathy. I don't treat really with anything else. So the remedies that I used were um, in succession. One is purogene, which is for loose teeth, and if you have a if any of you ever have a toothache, works wonders. Just take that remedy once or twice, and your toothache will very likely subside. And the next one was hepasulfur. Hepasulfuricum is against infections. But then I interspersed it at times with arsenicum because arsenicum also treats infections. So sometimes you have to see that you adjust the remedy and change the remedy and what follows. Hepasulfuricum, um, if you want to give that, always first, and then you give arsenicum. Arsenicum is also against itching and the restlessness that you often have with dogs that have allergies. So, you would always give arsenicum really after the other one. The only time when you do not give arsenicum is when well, there are a couple of remedies that you don't give us, that arsenicum doesn't follow. But, best for something like this to ask a homeopath like me, a homeopath vet that is experienced with that. Um, if you do that on your own, it may not be quite so successful. You have to know which potency to give. But also, what is very, very good, and if it's just a small amount when it's not really bad yet, take buy one of those little travel toothbrushes. They're little tiny. You don't have to buy a dog toothbrush, okay? Because they cost like $4 or $5. These little tiny travel toothbrushes, they have them. And there's a little toothpick on the other end. It's like a little pick on the other end. And you can use this little brush and you put a drop of peroxide on there and you just brush it a little bit. Brush the teeth a little bit. You'll see it works wonders if it's not bad yet. But TC's teeth were way too bad for that. So he needed, but I did do that too and try to get rid of a little bit of the tartar too. It does work for the tartar. I
Um,
know most dogs don't like having their teeth brushed.
and when you're saying a drop of peroxide, I'm sure you mean just a drop, because if you take a little
Yeah,
more,
yeah,
then
no, no, and use the one that you use for wounds.
right,
You know, um, uh, that peroxide
yeah.
is very low. It's a very low potency, and just do that. Now, I have heard people who have put a little baking soda on it, but that usually foams right away, and dogs really don't like that.
Um,
They really don't.
Carly is saying that she didn't get the very first remedy that you were talking about, and I didn't. I was typing.
Pyrogene, P Pyrogen.
Okay.
Let me see.
Well,
It's Pyrogen.
Purogen. Okay.
Yeah. And that is really a very good tooth. In fact, I just took it because I have an upper tooth here that has been bothering me all day. And I can feel that it's already working. So I'm going to take another dose a little later, and tomorrow I'm going to be hunky dory again. Yeah, so that really does work well. If you have a larger dog with a lot of tartar on their teeth, then the tartar buildup on the teeth usually comes from the dog food that you feed because they build up acid in their system. I have one dog, a Maltese poodle mix. When he came to me, all his mouth, all around his mouth was bright red, and all his paws that he kept constantly licking were bright red. And that is an acidic allergy. And the only way you can change that is by food. Change the food. So you know, it depends. Every dog builds up their own acidity, and you have to sometimes just experiment with different foods to see which one, but most often it is the prepared food. If it is a raw food, it will not happen as much. But and they also will develop then bladder and kidney stones if they have an acidity problem like this. So what you can do is you can also change the water. You can put into the water just a tiny bit of baking soda, but use the aluminum free one. And Red Mill makes it. You can buy it in the grocery store. And just a small amount. Big bowl, you can put a quarter of a teaspoon into the water and dissolve it. Dogs usually don't mind having that. And that makes the water a little bit more alkaline. You can also get yourself a water treatment device because alkaline water is good for us too. So, you know, I have, we constructed one, which was really, really kind of unique. I have a very genius mechanic here who made me one. And you take two uh, plastic water containers, and you know what? You can go online. YouTube has the entire construction on there and just put alkaline water treatment device. And you have a bunch of people that have all kinds of different devices. But you can also make one of those and then drink that water and also give that to your animals. In fact, Teddy really got better after I've been uh, giving him that water. Now he doesn't need it anymore. But in the beginning, when we first had him, just to give him a jump start, I did that. So that works really well. And it works good for you too, for your own health. Making the body more alkaline, um, because in an alkaline body, it will not harbor as many illnesses. Like cancer cannot really flourish in an alkaline body. It will, however, flourish in an acidic body. And since most of our food is acidic, it stands to reason that we all are more acidic than we should be. So it's better to have an alkaline. Now you can also have in the morning, your dogs will not like that or your cats will not like that, but the way you can make it is what I do now for ease, because I have that little machine that we have, but it takes about 24 hours for the water to make and so on. So I said, we're pretty good. We have a pretty good pH level, and I test myself. You can buy some litmus paper, and you can test yourself. You just put it on the tongue, and you see it on the color. It's either blue or red. Blue is alkaline, and red is acidic. And what I do is I take half a lemon in the morning, put it in water, and I put about a quarter of a teaspoon of baking soda in there, the Red Mill aluminum-free baking soda. And I stir it, it foams real nice. I drink that first thing in the morning, I'm good to go. And it keeps you pretty regular too. So it's a nice thing. It's a nice thing to have. Um, Talking a little bit more about allergies. How do you know that your dog has allergies or your cat? And that I get that question a lot. And usually you find it is that teeth are bad, hair is bad, hair is not glossy, it's sparse, and they start itching. They start itching. If they have a flea allergy, they usually start itching on the hind quarters. It's usually on the back legs, the tail, um, the ear, behind the ear here. That's usually a flea allergy. But when they start rubbing their mouths and they rub their nose and they start licking their paws and their, even to the point of a hot spot, that's usually a food allergy. And I can tell that always with my little TC, the one little poodle that I told you about. When he starts doing that, I know he ate something he shouldn't have. And the other day, just before Christmas, everybody got chicken, but he is not allowed to. However, my hubby forgot, gave him chicken. Guess what? Here he was. He was licking himself. He ate it all. He loved it. But he was itchy. And so I gave him something to help the itch. And he was okay. We alkalized him a little bit more, and he was okay again.
What is that something?
Well, the remedy that TC gets is sulfuricum, but it's not hyposulfuricum, but sulfur. Not every animal needs that. It depends really on the animal. Now, TC goes really well on that. But when you have an animal like that, best really to go and call. And you know what, guys? You can email me anytime. My consultation, if you have a question and I see that I have to really go a little deeper, and I have, that I can't just give you a ready answer, um, my consultation fees are very, very reasonable. So, don't hesitate to do that. Send me an email, give me a call. Um, Best email. I respond to emails. Contact homeopathy, homeopath, the number 4, me at live.com, Live. And really, that's really the best way. Homeopathy is not so that, like allopathy, you say, okay, well, if you have a headache, you take a Tylenol, and that's for everybody. That's not the way homeopathy works. Everybody the remedy has to be matching to the person or the animal that you're giving it to, because there are more factors that factor into that than just that symptom. You don't give the remedy just for one symptom. There are usually several symptoms, and these several symptoms have to be taken into consideration, and then you can give the remedy. If you give remedy just as a, I don't know, oh, well, I heard that hepatosulfuricum is good for infection, so I see my myself or my dog has a big infection, so I'm going to give him hepatosulfuricum. Well, you can be lucky that it works, but there usually is a reason for that infection, and we want to treat that reason. We don't want to just treat the infection. And that's what homeopathy is all about. Okay, so best to consult somebody, because if you keep doing that, after a while the body then will not really respond as well if you give too many remedies that do not work. Because, you know even though our bodies, all of our bodies, animals and ours, are so super resilient and are so fabulously constructed that it can heal itself. Um, they will get the message will be confusing, because each homeopathic remedy gives the body a message, and gives the body the message of to help itself. The remedy does not cure you. The message that the remedy carries will cure the entity. I know it's a little confusing for some to understand, but that's probably why homeopathy for so many times is, oh, it doesn't work, because the remedy was not the right remedy. If you give the right remedy at the time, it will always work. It will no fail, no fail. But the right remedy has to be found. And that's not always that easy. Sometimes when I have an animal that is really sick, I sit for 3, 4 hours, and then I go and check again and sit another 3, 4 hours to try to find the right remedy, because each remedy has a picture to itself. Okay, so let's say um, arsenicum. Okay, arsenicum has the picture of it. It's made from arsenic, and it's really potentially poisonous. So if you would give that remedy in a low potency, and you are restless. Oh, I have a great example. Let me tell you something. when my husband had 5 years ago, he had his heart, he had an um, aneurysm in his heart, and he was rushed to the hospital by helicopter. They flew him into emergency surgery, and he had an aorta replacement. He had a valve replacement. I mean, they did everything but replace that heart. Well, after everything was done, and he is healthy, and he's very healthy now, thank God. Um, he was home, and the first couple of days after he was home, I all of a sudden started to fall apart. I guess all that stress and all of that, I was like, oh my God, I'm having a heart attack. Well, why? Because I felt anxious. Him coming home, didn't know really of how to take care of him right away, and all of that stress before made me anxious. So I thought, well, I'll take aconite. Aconite is what you use in the first defense when you, for instance, you've had a shock, or you have the first onset of an illness. You take a dose of aconite. Well, my dose of aconite was way too much for me. And it really sent me into a headspin. I really had all the symptoms of a heart attack. And my girlfriend who came over, she rushed me to the hospital. They put this little nitrogen thing on my chest, so that I would, and they tested me out, and everything was great with my heart. And then I talked to the doctor, and she said, well, did you take anything? And I said, yes, I took a dose of aconite. I'm a homeopathist. And she said, oh, and she walked away. And an hour later, she came back and she said, that really, aconite can really is an herb that will give you the symptoms of a heart attack. And I smiled at her and I said, yes, I know, but I thought that I was taking the right potency of the remedy, and I apparently took it too high. I should have taken a lower potency. And that is the best example of what can happen. Okay, so no, you will not die. It will not give you. It will not give you a heart attack, and was in no danger of having a heart attack. But I had the symptoms almost like it. My whole system said, "Alert! Alert! Alert!" Only because I took that aconite. And that's the best example of treating yourself with homeopathy. It really can go against you. Not so, like I said, that it will really hurt you. Because if would have just waited, it would have been all right. I would have been fine, you know. But even the healers sometimes fall this because it's always if it would have been somebody else, I would have said, you know what, honey, let's just wait. Let's put a cold cloth on your head. Let's calm you down. Maybe give you a little rescue remedy to calm everything. Take a couple of deep breaths. If there would have been somebody else, me, no. I had to go and it's the same thing with my animals. If I give my animals a remedy and it doesn't work right away, I go like, oh my God, what can I give them else? I'm up at night studying all the remedies, seeing if it's somebody else's, I stay cool and collected. And I guess that is what a lot of doctors do. I used to be married to a doctor, and let me tell you, he was when it came to his family, he spaced out. When he was in the hospital, he was the coolest dude in the world. So yeah, doctors do that too. Um, so that's about it for today. Let me leave you with a very cute joke that I just read the other day. And the headline of this joke is Wishing Big. A small girl's father asked her what she would like to have for Christmas. A baby brother, she said. And later, a few months later, she, mom, was delivered from a little baby brother. And the little girl was just super delighted and said, wow, Santa Claus really came through. So the next year, our dad asked her again, what would you like to have for Christmas? And here's what the little girl said. If it isn't too uncomfortable for mother, I would like to have a pony. And I thought that was the cutest joke I've heard in years.
Good. That's good.
And so with that, I will all see you and you will hear me in the new year. I hope you have a wonderful go in the new. We say in Germany, guten Rutsch. That means you slide into the new year in a nice way, in a comfortable way. Don't drive and drink. Uh, Try not to drink too much. It's really not good for us. Although, I love a good glass of wine too. So I can understand that. But, surround yourself with some friends. And if you have to be by yourself, then try to do it in a positive way. Think of all the positive things that happened to you in 1914. I really dated myself here. But, try to think of all the positive things that happen, all the things that you can be thankful for, and all the things that you can be doing in the new year. Try to make some resolutions, try to keep some, and I will see you and hear from me next year. Bye bye.
And we may change the time, right?
Yes, we may
So we'll
change the
talk
time.
we'll talk about this.
Yes, and maybe our listeners can tell us if they have a preference in time. Maybe we can take that into consideration.
Absolutely, yeah.
All right. So, listeners, tell us what time you would like us to broadcast, because we definitely will change the time. We just have not. We were thinking of maybe Sundays, right, Amnon?
Yeah.
Maybe Sundays, or another evenings. Should it be evenings? Should it be mornings? Should it be noon? Tell us. We like to take your suggestion in consideration. All right. Okay. Well, have a wonderful guten Rutsch. Bye bye.
You are tuned to the Nissan Communications Network. Our weekly lineup of call-in programs includes Computers 2K Now with Amnon Nissan, Health In with Debbie Bruck, Breaking Free with Marilyn Shannon, Lessons of Vietnam with NCVVI members, The Tanya Love Show, Your Healthy Pet with Gisela DiCarlo. And if you tuned in too late, you can always watch each program in its entirety or download an MP3 audio file of it at www.nissancommunications.com. Sponsored by Atomus.com, makers of quality video recorders and converters for professionals, CarolinaApparel.com, and DeltaForce.net.